my necklaces. I got all the mermaids out, and they're mermaids and sirens. Some of them are sirens. I got the plants out. It's not super sunny today. Yesterday was really sunny, so I'm just gonna I feel nice and refreshed. I went out earlier, and not earlier, just like an hour ago, and just got some things I needed, but I couldn't find any guacamole or avocados. So I really wanted some guacamole. I had a taste for some avocado, but I couldn't find any, so I guess it wasn't meant to be. So, uniting the races. I did see a nice video. I'm going to post the link in the description. And it, basically shows two perspectives, a black male perspective and a white male perspective on being American and the way we view each other. And talking about, the difference between being racist and actually just having a perspective, a valid perspective on another race based on your personal experiences in America. And this can go for anyone, but America, we have a unique, I think we have a unique society here, but I guess that could be said for anyone. But my point is that I've just been thinking about a lot of things, and I guess this is the best way to touch on the different topics. I'll first start by saying the Tower of Babel. I think that happens in the book of Jasper. God separated the human race into like approximately 72 different ethnicities, creeds, languages. So again, before that, everyone was like ancient Kemet. Everyone was black. Everyone was in the image of the creators. So some people believe in Pangea, and then the land separating, and the continents breaking off, and that causing the different races. Well, this concept is no different, but this is in the book of Jasper. It's biblical, and it talks about how God separated the races after, under the rule of Nimrod. People came together. Peace, conscious conspiracy today. Thank you. Yeah, I'm feeling the blue moon that's happening. The blue moon event that's happening at this time. So, I just wanted to compliment the energy that we have right now, and just set some intentions in motion. So, and one of my intentions to set in motion is that black women stop suffering. That we don't suffer anymore, because we are divine, and the world hates us for our strength. Come on, baby. Come on now. Stop trying to be in the thing. So, Rico, get down. Get down. Stop. So, they want to be in my uploads now. Yeah, my point is that, God separated the races, and, I think it's time to unite the races, because that is, one of the things that I seek to do as Black High Priestess, to elevate black women and unite humanity in reverence of that. So, I'm kind of all over the place right now, I'm sorry, but my point is that I think that the human race needs to unite against the powers, and first we need to have an honest conversation about how we feel about each other. And I think that should start in America with black people and white people. Have an honest conversation, have an honest look. So I believe most white people in America are extremely insensitive and numb to the conditions that the black person is in as a result of slavery. I think most white people in America are extremely ignorant of black history, black culture, or the black experience. And I think most white people know full well that they have white social privileges and are not prepared by any means to be in a world where they do not have those privileges. Least of all, be in a world where they are underprivileged the way they have put the black person in a position to be. The way they continue to allow black people to be. And this is not just talking about the government or the people who pull the strings in our nation. I'm talking about white people who have jobs, who know that they are racist, who know that they don't hire black people, who know that you mistreat the black people that you do hire, who know that you pay the black people less, who know that you allow racism at your job, yet you know you need black workers. I'm talking about the white people who are in these school systems and who know you hold back the black children because you're jealous that when they're given equal opportunity, it turns out that black children are a lot smarter and have a higher IQ than your children do. Studies show. Who know that you convince black parents to put their children in special ed and these programs to dumb them down, who know that you mistreat and unjustly discipline the black children or the darker children in your classroom, who know that you are teaching false lies and false history and false things to black students to program them to hate themselves and support a system that privileges you. This is how I feel about the majority of white America. You have the ability to combat racism, but you actively choose not to. Those of you who, and everyone has an ability to do something. Everyone has a choice. Whether you're working in the government making laws or whether you're just a citizen trying to get by. You have white privilege and you can do something about it. Celebrities show you that they're speaking out. And the thing about celebrities is, let's stop criticizing celebrities. They have a lot more to lose than you. What do you have to lose? The little chump change that you make every month. Celebrities have something to lose. So let's honor their bravery. The black celebrities and the white celebrities who know they have something to lose by standing up for what's right. I'm sick of people talking about celebrities, and it's mostly black people. That's what we do. So now, I'm just going to give some criticisms that we need to confront. I believe most black people are simply inferior. And the closer to slavery you get, the more superior the black people were. The closer to Africa, ancient Africa you get, the more superior the black people were. Of course, that is erased. Nonetheless, we know why. We know white people need to live in a world where they are privileged and they are considered God. And they're not ready to live in a world where the black person knows that they are in the image of the creators. But black people embrace the ideology and the concept of being God and goddess, and the concept of being the original king and queen, and the concept of being the Hebrew Israelites and the true nation of God, yet as a race show no sign of divinity on this planet, show no sign of supremacy, show no sign of superiority. You embrace the same myth and concept that white people gave you through the Bible, because it alleviates you of your responsibility of proving that you're in the image of God, which is something that white people have done. They've created a world where the image of God is with them, and that is commendable. And black people still behave under that regime. If you are superior and you are supreme, why are we socially inferior? Why is the black woman in the condition that the black woman is in? And I'm talking about America. So, black people like to talk. Black people are very emotional. Black people are very reactive, but not proactive. Black people are easily manipulated. Easily influenced. Black people do not like each other. Black people like to see each other fail and see each other suffer. Black people Black people have a religious mentality, and for the most part believe that it is a responsibility of the spirit realm or a divinity or something outside of themselves or something bigger and better than themselves to create change and to be a savior. Black people embrace the concept of getting outside help, which is lack of accountability. Black people create white saviors and seek out white saviors. Black people believe it is the responsibility of white people to better our conditions, which I don't completely disagree with. I disagree with the mentality that black people hold about white people. Black people, for the most part, believe white people are superior. It's not in what black people say. Black people say a lot of things, and the actions of the race do not line up with the talking. So for the most part, black people like to believe that we are superior, yet we are, for the most part, waiting on white people to better us and give us what they have. In terms of interracial, dating and interracial connections, interracial work relationships, business relationships, whatever you have at interracial relationships, not just romantic, but in general. Black women are very devalued. White women get away with a lot, and white women know it. So if the races are gonna unite and really help each other in a way where we understand each other, I think it's important to understand that white women tend to treat black women like they are personal slaves and servants, but don't really give black women the respect of authority or the respect of having an ancient history or bloodline or origin. A lot of times, and usually white women who don't hold this superiority complex toward the Aboriginal woman they are usually ones who are studied or well versed in ancient history and, you know, indigenous spirituality, and are honoring the black goddess and understand her in a certain way. Or again, white women who embrace the morals of whatever religious practice she has, because just because you call yourself a Christian doesn't mean you're not racist. But when you are actually embracing the teachings of the Bible, you do not mistreat people, but you seek to be Christ-like. But for the most part, the interaction between white women and black women is white women constantly treating black women like we're a personal servant. So what I would say to men in situations is, white men, you need to check white women. Because a lot of times this happens because no one defends the black woman. The white woman knows that she can get the black man to defend her and the white man to defend her, and she will mistreat the black woman, down to maybe even placing her hands on her in certain circumstances if nobody is around, or if she knows that she can get away with it. Okay. So to white men, you need to check Becky. I'm not talking about Sarah and you know what I'm saying. I'm talking about Becky. You guys get that? I'm not talking about the white women who are Christ-like. I'm talking about Becky. I'm talking about the white woman who knows the position that she has and goes out and takes her inferiority complex out on black women because she knows that the black woman can be mistreated in that way, and she can get away with it. Society victimizes those that they can get away with victimizing. This is why black men don't usually victimize white women, because he will deal with the backlash of American militia as well as other nations that recognize the Caucasian genetic as their bloodline. That is not something the black woman has. You can mistreat the black woman, and Africa or any other nation won't bat an eye. They never have, they never will. They are doing nothing for the black woman. The American nation is to protect the white woman. So white women mistreat black women when they are in positions. I mean, from, you know what I'm saying, sometimes from the way they interact with a black woman in the grocery store to, for most times, how they deal with Aboriginal women who they have to work with. In some type of way. White women are constantly slighting black women in undercover ways, or sometimes in overt ways. And white women can treat black men even worse sometimes, and this is what I mean. It's one thing when you're mistreating a woman and treating her like a slave, but when you are a white woman and you know that this man is already looked at as a perpetrator. See, a black woman isn't looked at like she's gonna rape this woman. We're just looked at like we're just super aggressive, and that we can just be standing there and shit. You know, just overreacting at the energy of a genetically dominant person. And I'm talking about just a black woman just standing there, let alone us open our mouth and say something. No matter how gracefully, no matter how, you know, it doesn't matter. She's gonna overreact because the fact of the matter is she's offended that you exist. And she's playing that role that she knows she can get away with, because whatever's going on with her that she's unhappy, she knows that she can take it out on the black woman and the black man. So the conditions that, you know, some of these white women are put in their society, they take it out on black people. So white men, check Becky, because things are not going to get better until the black woman can get the respect that she deserves and be put in leadership positions because we have what it takes. We have experiences where we're not going to just sit around and get offended and you know, we can lead. We can lead. Black women have always had to lead. So white men, you know the value of the black woman. Stop being afraid of losing your power. And if you want to keep the power you have, ally with the black woman who you know is your number one asset at this point. Because Becky has become a liability to you. A lot of white men are sick of the attitudes of white women, but you white men are not brave enough to do anything about it. You're punks, and you're not even brave enough to approach a beautiful black woman. You're not man enough. You're not brave enough. So you're still hiding behind Becky and letting Becky do whatever because you're not man enough to stand up to her. You're afraid of losing because you really don't know what it's about. You're not ready to be with a black woman because you don't know what it's like to be a nigger lover, let alone considered a nigger. So white men, man up. All this talk about black men manning up, but you know what, white men, you are a real punk. Because you let your woman go around and mistreat people. And take her anger out on whatever you doing to her, on us. Whatever you doing or not doing to her. And then you get mad when she runs for some black dick. And then brings a mulatto baby back to you, but you got the money. So this might be rare cases, or it might not be so rare in America anymore. This might be a little more of the norm. Now I'm talking about interracial relationships at this point. So again, white women, the black woman is not only here to serve you. Stop treating an erection. Your hair is considered limp. White woman. You are the standard of beauty because it's making people money. So check yourselves, white women. And those of you who are not like that, thank you for speaking up. Speak a little louder. So white women, you want to have in uniting the races, white women, speak up for black women. Don't say all lives matter. Say, you know what? I know what I can get away with, and I know what black women can't get away with, and it's not right. It's not okay. And I'm willing to speak up, and I'm willing to lose a little bit of my white female privilege to create unity with the race that I know brings value to my life, even if I can't see it. White men, check Becky. And check other white men. Check these other races, white men. The occult Masonic orders have become corrupt by these renegade agendas because you white men didn't check the other ones who were renegades and went against the order. The government has become corrupt because you white men who did have power, you didn't check anything. You were just thinking about yourself and your Becky. And your paycheck. And your spoiled white children. Who, for the most part, have no sensitivity to the actual conditions of black America. You white men, you didn't check the police force. And again, I know the police force started from hound dogs catching runaway slaves. But again, you white men who had power, you kept appointing races, you kept letting races come in. And you guys who were good men, you didn't unite against it. You said, oh, we'll let God deal with it. And you just turned a blind eye. See, white people, don't expect black people to continue to have sympathy and want to help you when the only time that you want to unite with us is when you can't see your privileges anymore. Oh shit, We're in a condition where we don't have any privileges. Let's have solidarity. All lives matter. Fuck off. You better come with some real shit, crackers. You say the word nigger in a minute, but are you ready to be called what you really are, cracker? Because cracker came from the actual definition. You were cracking whips on the back of slaves. But nigger, that term doesn't hold the original definition, because the original definition is derivative of naga, which is what black people are. And a naga is a dragon. Do not mistake it. You put your own spin on it to degrade us and make us less than. But we are the royal bloodline. Not all of us. But we are the royal bloodline. Just like not all of you are I'll put it like this. Not all of you are albinos or derivative of the black woman. Some of you are an evil foreign species, but because you got, see, white privilege has made you unable to see evil because it looks so much like you and it privileges you and benefits you. White people, a lot of white people are speaking out now, telling the truth, saying things, but none of that justifies what black people go through. So, no justice, no peace type of thing. And there is no justice. So again, talking about how God separated the races, justice is not something that I've ever seen. It's not, I don't believe God, I don't know about justice. People get away with what they get away with, and people suffer, and there's no retribution for the suffering that people that happens to people. And there, people who get away with what they get away with and continue to live happy and prosperously, they've gotten away with it, and there is no justice in the world. So white people know that you're coming to the table never having been in a just world. So unity would look like justice. So if you're not ready for justice, white people, then you're not ready for unity. Justice is balance. Balancing the scales. Peace, solitary candle. Thank you. So, again, white men, man up, because you have allowed a lot of things to happen under your power, under your control. You being considered God, you being considered in the image of Jesus, you being considered the supreme masculinity. Not necessarily the pinnacle of masculinity, but you being considered the supreme masculinity. And you having created a society where, I'm talking about America, where you have conditioned the nation to believe in your concept of God and your concept of Christ and your concept of divinity, your concept of religion, a white Anglo-Saxon American culture. So when it comes to unity, white man, you have to relinquish some of your concepts, just like the black man is going to have to relinquish. And again, I'm going to talk about sex and race, but in terms of interracial relationships, white man, you're going to have to relinquish the concept that you are in God's image. Just like I talked about, the white women and how a lot of white women view black women and degrade black women and treat black women as maid servants, but not equals. white man, you're going to have to also understand that her concept of her divinity comes from your promotion of your concept of divinity, which is still white male dominated. So if you want unity, you are going to have to not say that you believe everyone is equal, but you're going to have to start showing it. Some of the things that we need to talk about are genetics. White man, you have created a science, and you teach a science, but in your own science, it says that the African is genetically dominant. So why do you create science but then create movies where you erase the African from their history and insert your image, which was not there and not present, when your own science speaks to that? So some of the science, you know what I'm saying, in anthropology, you know, white people, you're going to have to confront your fear. White man, you're going to have to confront certain things. The black man, the African man, his genitals hang low because when you live in the sun and when you live in the heat, your genitals hang low, so the scrotum is not heated up. It's a way of protecting the sperm from overheating, because if the sperm overheat in the scrotum, they die. And if men are going around wearing skinny jeans and things like that, keeping their scrotum close to their body and their heat, that causes the death of the sperm. It causes the scrotum to overheat. So when you're African and you're in the heat, one of the ways that the men developed was to develop a hang, because it kept the scrotum away from the body and it kept the sperm from overheating. The reason Africans have coiled, kinky hair is because our hair, this texture of hair, is what insulates the heat and the UV rays from the sun and what keeps us from getting sunburn. Your melanin is a protective field, but yes, it's my real hair. Your melanin is a protective field. And that's another thing. That's a perfect question, but I'll get to that. See, white people don't understand that black people, we are in God's image. So when you're African and you are living in that nature, that in the Garden of Eden, you are made in that image to deal with that climate. The Caucasian is not created genetically to interact with this planet in a harmonious way. So our hair is what insulates the heat from the sun and keeps us from getting burned. The fact that your hair is limp and dead is why you get sunburn and have an allergy to the sun. Our melanin is black gold, the melanin concentration, and I talked about that in one of my other links. That's why we use oil-based moisturizer, because our melanin is as black gold, which is considered oil. And we use oil-based products, or should be. So these are things that white people, your science has already proven that the African is genetically dominant to you and you are genetically recessive, and that in an interracial relationship, your gene will recede and ours will dominate. And the fact that a black person, that a black man and a black woman can come together and create an albino, create a white baby, yet never in history has a white person, a white man and a white woman got together and created an African. You cannot do it. You are recessive genetic and you are not godly. You are receded from the Hebrew Israelites. You are the lepers that the Bible talked about. So if you want to unite white people, you need to confront your inferiority and your recessiveness. You need to confront your fascination with black people and stop acting like we're all equal. We are not equal. The black person is genetically superior to you. And until you face our differences and stop acting like you don't treat us a certain way because you don't understand us, come to the table, be ready to unite, and start asking questions, but have some respect and be ready for the real answer. Because you want to ask questions about our hair, but the fact is you are genetically recessive. This is why our hair is like this. This is called being in the image of God. And there is a reason that our body and our phenotype is that way. The reason black people are so good at sports is because the African has higher muscle twitch fibers, meaning we can react to something a lot quicker than you can. You have a delay in your database, in your computer system. The black person is quicker than you, can react to things quicker. Our muscle twitch fibers is why the black person is more athletic and tends to win at sports. And speaking of sports, you know, white men, you make a lot of rules and regulations in martial arts and everything. That's to protect you. Why don't you go up against black men and black women? Hey, go up against black women because the men we know can beat you. Go up against some black women and see do you win without all of them rules and regulations that you create to make yourself win and act as if you're superior. You cannot beat an African in sports. Black men been outrunning the cops. You know, so again, white skin is similar to pig skin. That's why sunblock is tested on the skin of pigs, because that skin is closer to your skin. It's closer to Caucasian recessive skin. That's pink. That has that pink color that becomes lobster-like when the sun is burning you. Because your hair doesn't insulate the heat that it causes. So the reason that we call ourselves kings and queens, again, white people, because this is our crown. Rastafaris do not believe in cutting off our hair because our hair is an extension of ourself. You all don't necessarily have that concept, but it is Native American as well. So those of you white people who are connected to some Native American tribes, some of you may heard of that concept. But the Rastafari, we don't believe in cutting off our hair because this is our crown. So crown deals with royalty. Where do we get that concept from? The definition of a female dragon is a queen. The definition of a female dragon is a queen. So think about that. This is our crown. We have the crown. This is why our hair is misunderstood, and this is why there is a lot of propaganda against the black woman and her beauty. Because white people, you create climates in America where you want to Samson the black man. You make black men cut off their hair, and you make black women cover their hair. And this is something, the white women were making sisters cover their hair during slavery. When the black women were in the house, the white women would get offended at our natural African hair, our short kinky hair, and would make the sisters cover their hair up. Now granted, we've always had the divinity where the women cover, as Hebrew Israelites, the women do cover their head in the presence of men, and women who are in a higher position, like a high priest, a priestess, a prophet, a diviner. Yeah, we do cover our heads, especially when we're doing divination. Oracles, Vesta virgins, that is important. So we've always had the divinity of covering our head. But white women, you continue to make the black woman cover up her hair because you don't understand our hair, and it's offensive to you because you can't do that with your hair. You can't create, you don't have this beauty aesthetic. So you make the black woman cut her hair off and hate herself and wear a weave, because that comes from slavery, when you were making the black woman cover up her hair to be in the house. So, you know, and to white women who love black men and are dating black men, make sure you know how to do black hair. Or, you know, you need to think about here's a question to white women who go get a black man because maybe you couldn't pull a white man. Maybe you weren't good enough to the white men around you to pull a white man, so you had to go get a black man. Or maybe you just like to do whatever you want. Or maybe, you know what I'm saying, the dick was too good to leave, so you stayed with him. I don't know, whatever. But to the white women who don't actually date black men for love, and you just date black men because they're black and you're white, did you think about anything genetic? Did you think about what you have to actually offer a family? Whether or not you are capable of raising an African genetic child, a genetically dominant child, whether you have that capability or that skill. Did you think about what type of mother your child needs as an African? Or did you just think about yourself? Same thing goes to white men, same thing goes to black men, and same thing goes to black women. Sisters. So now I'm going all over the place, but sisters, unity. Again, I have the challenge of not saying anything negative about black women for a year, and that is to support, you know, our unity and our sisterhood. But I will say with this, having said that, this is a little loop, but I think it's just kind of like it's just like this, it's like a crown thing going on, but maybe I'll just put it like right here. But sisters, yeah, I like that better. Be ready, prepare yourself to be around diverse individuals. This is not going to apply to a lot of black women. This is going to apply to marginalized black women. And this is just constructive criticism. Because again, I don't want to say anything that's not constructive, because I am challenging myself. But that is my first thing to black women. Accept my challenge to not say anything negative about another black woman on social media, in public, and even in your thoughts. There's been times where I've had to catch my thoughts. I did an upload yesterday and I said F Oprah, and I had to retract that statement because I realized that you are not meeting the requirements of your challenge, because Oprah, no matter how you feel about her, she's still a black woman. So sisters, be ready to be around diversity. Be brave and don't come with an inferiority complex. Don't come with that marginalized complex. Don't, you know, a lot of sisters, you know, black women, there's this thing of, you know, now it's popular for black women to date white men, and I don't want to say it's popular because it's not really popular. It's a last resort that black women have gone to because they realize that black men hate us. And after we tried every last thing, I think last year and the year before, by 2016, I think most black women in America collectively started to realize, okay, no matter what we do, black men are gonna hate us. We can have their baby, we can look like Becky, we can change all these things, we can get educated, we can even have our own stuff, and he doesn't have to bring anything to the table. We just need his support. But he will do nothing for you. No matter what you do, black, you can act weak, you can not be strong. No matter what you do, the black man is gonna hate you. So so my point in that is, now a lot of black women are finally giving themselves permission to date outside the race. Here's my thing. black women, if you have just given yourself permission to date outside your race now because you've been loving black men and you've been pro-black or you've been whatever, here's my thing to you. Take it from someone who never had the privilege of seeing black men as eligible, because my mom showed me through experience and showed me the difference. I come from the most segregated city in America. So I know how white people live and how black people live in this city where it's very segregated. So I saw the difference, and I saw, okay, the majority of black men are not eligible to date me, and the ones who are don't want me. I learned that at a young age, growing up and seeing how the black men, it was the light-skinned men who were willing to date me. Always. Always. The light-skinned men and the mixed men. And those were the ones I should have been dating. The first, and my mom was strict, but I don't want to talk too much about myself. But yeah, the first brother I dated, he went with the white girl, but at that time, I was still a virgin. I didn't lose my virginity until my early 20s. And technically, you're still, you know, virginity in an ancient sense is not about having sex, but it's about giving birth. But I wasn't dating and doing all those things. I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness. So my point is, I know that having sex has a lot to do with it, because the idea that a white woman will put out. Here's another misconception I want to talk about really quickly, and I am talking about black women, but okay, no, I'm still talking about black women. But be ready for diversity. Don't hold so many stereotypes, you know, and be ready for that, because there's a lot of stereotypes. And yeah, white women are promiscuous and everything, but that is also still a concept that's put out there through movies like Malcolm X and all, you know, through all these movies that essentially have black men kind of glorifying white women because they can get what they want and they need from white women without really, you know, having to be accountable, even though it's risky. But that's part of the fun. Oh, they're a risky, you know. But, you know, black women, white women are so, you know, I'm not saying that this is what we all believe, but think about this. If white women are more promiscuous and black men like them because they're having sex and everything like that, then why is the rate of single black mothers higher, of teen pregnancy higher in the black and brown communities? So black women, start, if you are on this movement of, yeah, we don't have to date black men and marginalize ourselves to black men, but does a black man already have you though? Did you already have a baby by a black man? Are you just now thinking like that? Because if you are you ready for interracial dating? Are you ready for that diversity? Like I said, I already told you how racist white people can be. So you're not really finding salvation. But if the Most High does bless you with a union where you're protected for and provided for, and you're looking for a man, but this is not only for heterosexuals by any means. But this is about interracial relationships in general. But think about this to the black woman. Bring an open mind. And be ready to understand that you have marginalized yourself for so long. Don't think that you are automatically what white men are going to want. Because remember, black woman, you have been having babies by these good-for-nothing men. Because I'm willing to bet the rate of black women who are single mothers because the man left, or because he wasn't fit to be in the household and she had to leave him, or because he decided that he wanted to marry someone else, or because he's just a deadbeat, that is higher than the rate of black men who who or the rate of black women who are single mothers because the black man was forced to do something illegal to provide for the family, and he got locked up trying to take care of her and the baby, or he got murdered, or he died from a natural cause. That is rare. Most times a black woman is a single mother is because the man left. He either left or he was not a fit partner, and she was better to be single than to let a man take advantage of her. A lot of times black women are single mothers because they can only deal with one baby. And most black men ain't nothing but another damn baby. So she's like, I'll deal with this one. God will bless me for dealing with this one. But black women, if you never had value for yourself before to say, hey, I can see these conditions, or no one ever showed you the actual difference between black men and white men in America and how that translated to the eligibility of the black man to be with you if you're educated, then think about what you're bringing to the table of unity as well. We, like I said, yeah, black women, we're very educated. We're leaders. We have a lot of leadership skills. We have a lot to offer. But to the black women who have been marginalized and who have marginalized yourselves, be ready to actually see the other type of women you have been competing with. Be ready to actually see what other type of women are out there that you have been competing with for men. Be prepared for that reality. Be prepared for women who are educated, women who are well versed in what it means to be a lady in elite society, in royal upper class society. Be ready for women who were groomed to rule the world and to be royals. Be ready to be around women who, you know, have a different upbringing and a different level of femininity and have a different brand of wisdom because of their experiences. Be ready to see what you actually have been competing with. And that certainly goes for black men. But see, what I'm saying to sisters is this. We don't know what it's like to be a black man in a world where he's inferior, where okay, I've been conquered. I don't have the power that I would like to have to bring to a woman. I'm not in a favorable circumstance in America, so I have to make do. We don't actually know what that feels like as a man. So a lot of black men do what they have to do to just feel like a man in a world that there's no place for him to really feel like that. I mean, a real man. I'm not talking about black men who want to feel like a man with their dick. I'm talking about a black man who wants to feel like a man with his soul. That's very difficult. So what I'm saying as a sister is be ready to know what it means to be a woman too. If you coming from a place where black women have girly mentalities and girly attitudes, and what I'm saying by that is where you don't have womanhood, where it's okay to become a mother before a woman. If you come from a community where it's okay to become a mother before a woman, be ready to be around women, real women. And be ready to accept lessons of womanhood from diverse women. I'm not just talking about from white women, but when it comes to uniting of the races, like I said, we have to start with black people and white people, the African and the Caucasian. So, you know, black women, this is what I'm trying to say. It's one thing when you go to church and you're learning about the same God and you're learning about the same Bible verses, yet you go home to a community where it's socially acceptable to hoop and holler on Sunday and then, you know, get drunk and get high and party, you know, immorally for the other 6 days. I'm not saying that it's not okay in white societies, but you see, white societies, they have homes, they have marriages, their children have college funds, things like that. So when they're going to church and maybe they come home and, oh, I'm a little racist, you know what I'm saying, or I consume American media, so I'm a little programmed to be racist like all people are, including blacks, or I'm a little, you know, this, I'm a little that. But they can still say, you know what, I'm doing what the Bible says that a person should do. But when you come into a community that doesn't have any standards for you, white people have standards for their community. That's one of the reasons that white women who cannot meet the standards that white society or elite society has set for a woman, namely the high fashion beauty standards, she go get a brother. Because she knows that she can pull a black man, because we have very low standards. So we can go, you can go to all these churches and everything, but if you going back to a community that has no value for you and still thinks those things are okay, be ready to be around people who have had different standards. Don't think that, oh, white men want me too. They don't want you for any different reason than these niggas do. They want to try some good sex. Don't think that white men are the salvation and the savior. You start thinking for yourself. Because if you don't let black men run you over and now you looking for a white savior, let me tell you something. You should have always realized what's going on with the black race. You have to be smart and intelligent, sisters. And a lot of us, no matter how college educated you are, you're really not. You really don't think for yourself, and you put more energy into your bodies than you do your brain. And again, there is a lot of college educated sisters, but it don't mean that you're thinking for yourself. A lot of you are still watching this media, you're still consuming, and you're still doing shit that you think is cute because you're black, and it's not. It's not. Don't bring that to the table. Don't think that this little black cute stuff, yeah, you can get a white guy who thinks that's cute, just like you can get a black guy that thinks that's cute. But when you're really coming to the table of uniting with other races, to the sisters who think like that, understand that there is a different standard of femininity. That there will be a different standard of femininity when the races unite, because you will be competing with women who don't know what it means to settle for less than their worth. And that doesn't just have to be black women. But for the most part, black women, we have learned and been groomed to settle. We you know, so this is to the few that it applies to. Show what you have to bring to the table other than a baby. Don't just be bringing that to the table. Don't just bring, you know, don't think that your college education, because see, black women, we always have to be perfect all the time. We're trying so hard to be perfect all the time, and so we always bring the Miss Perfect to the table. Why do we do that? Because we know no one wants us. We know we're the bottom of the barrel, so we're always trying to be Miss Perfect to make up for the fact that our skin is dark and our hair is like this and we can't help it, but no one wants us. No one wants to be around us, and people mistreat us. So no matter how hard we smile until we look like the fucking Joker, we're in pain. So don't bring your Miss Perfect to the table. You are perfect just the way you are, black woman. Bring your ability to think for yourself to the table. That would be my message. Because a lot of times black women think with the mentality of, what can I do to get a man? And I'm guilty of that as well. Religion has groomed us to find no value in ourselves other than what we can do for a man. Slavery has groomed us to be baby making machines. So, sisters, be ready to, actually be seen and be held to another standard. Be ready to take a throne, is what I'm saying. If you want to be elevated and everything, be ready to see what that looks like. Because a lot of black women would cower from that throne because you're not ready to actually be elevated. So start looking at yourself, sisters, and listen. Think about some of the things that I said here, and think about whether you're embracing your nature, no matter what it is. Everyone doesn't have the same skin color, hair texture, or body shape, or bone structure. But whatever your nature is, and this is to everyone now, not just the black women, whatever your nature is, are you embracing that nature? Are you embracing it as something that the Most High gave you, regardless of what it is? Can you bring your nature to the table? Can you bring what you naturally were given by the Most High to the table? We all have something to offer. So, I mean, this one went kind of long, but again, this one was more so about the confrontation. I didn't touch on everything I wanted to touch on. But I am gonna cut it short just because I don't want these things to go too long like this. But let's see here. Okay, yeah, solitary candle. I will get back to your comments. And I see your last comment was, why am I preoccupied with race? Well, that's my right. Very few black women have, the gifts to unite the races. And we do need someone to speak up for us. And very few white people have what it takes to actually unite the races. So when you have a gift, you should use it. So I'm using my gift, and one of my gifts is the gift of communication, and that is another thing I will encourage everyone to do. Learn another language so you can communicate with other people. Learn a way to communicate with other people. So something, black people, stop getting so mad at white people when, and here's the thing, yeah, there's a lot of wiggers out there, there's a lot of disrespect, but don't always get mad at a white person who is trying to relate to you. Please learn the difference between a white person who is mocking you and trying to be like you, versus a white person who is trying to relate to you and speak to you in the language that they think you understand. Know the difference between that. Black people, stop getting so offended at everything. The reason black people get offended at everything is because more than half of the stuff that white people say about you just happens to be true. Black person in America. White people, you guys get offended too, but black people, we really stop getting so offended. Stop getting so offended. The only reason you get offended is because it's true. White people, start learning. Start listening to the black experience. Start listening to black scholars. Start listening to some of our black leaders who are not given the platform that they need. Start listening to what black people have to say. Start watching African media. Start learning about us from a place of respect. From a place, and not learning about us just so you can get in our pants. I mean, actually saying, I need to better myself, and the world is privileged to me, even down to the point where you can go anywhere in the world and the rest of the world knows English, but you're not required to know how to speak to anybody else. Africans have to learn English and Afrikaans and like 2 other languages sometimes. So the idea that we're uneducated, no, black people, we're miseducated a lot of times. But the rest of the world is learning how to communicate with the American. So white people learn how to respectfully communicate with the rest of the world through being cultured in a certain way. And again, you don't always have to go to travel to a foreign country to get cultured. You feel safe doing that because you know that these countries, these tourist places are still under the same American white supremacist control. And yeah, it's gotten worse with a lot of wars and things going on, but you can go to a place right in your state. You can go right into another neighborhood where it's predominantly black and start to learn about the culture. And there's nothing wrong with telling people or talking to the locals and saying, hey, I'm just here to try something new. I want to learn about this. I want to learn about that. Don't be afraid of the black people who gonna call you a cracker and feel like you're gentrifying that neighborhood. Yeah, that's gonna happen because we keep getting pushed around wherever y'all want to put us. On any little plantation or any little reservation that y'all want to put us on when you ready to take over anything that we done built or worked for. So stop trying to go to somewhere glamorous and exotic and go right in the inner cities of where you live, or right into the impoverished neighborhoods of where you live, or right into the African or the Ethiopian or the Muslim communities, or the Mexican communities, or the the ethnic neighborhoods that have their own ethnic culture, you know what I'm saying, and go to the restaurants, go to the entertainment, and see what you can get from that. Go to open mics. You really want to know how black people feel? Go to an open mic. And then get up there and say something yourself. You'll be heard. Unless you're Donald Trump. But you're not Donald Trump, so don't worry about that. I'm going to cut it short, y'all, and peace and love.